Hi guys, welcome to my first video. So, as you can see on the title below or wherever you're seeing it at, it's going to be a story time of my first ever fight. So, grab your popcorns, grab your drinks, sit down, and let's get right into this video. Okay, so as you know, we're gonna start this story time. But my first ever fight was over the dumbest thing ever. And the thing that we fought was for a chair. And this was back when I was in Horton instead of being in First Ave. And this was literally middle school, so I was probably in 6th or 7th grade, somewhere around there. I know it was right before I transferred from Horton to First Ave. So basically, this is how it happened. I was in math. I'm pretty sure we were in math. And our classes were literally next to each other. So it was like English, then math, then history or whatever else. But it was in one hallway. So it was like you can get out of one class and see the next class on your way to the bathroom or the water fountain or whatever. And we were basically in math. I remember it was in math, and then I got up to do some shit. I don't know what I went to do. I probably went to turn in paper or something. And I noticed that this girl was just in my seat. Before we say some girl, we're gonna call her Veronica or something. Veronica was in my seat, and the thing was, Veronica really didn't like me. I don't know why still to this day, but she didn't like me then. And she was like really bipolar, kind of like, she would have her days where she didn't like me and then she liked me and then she didn't like me. But I guess that day was one of her days where she didn't like me. And she just decided to sit on my seat to be a little asshole. And I went back to my seat, and it was a group of us. It was like my clique in the table, so she just sat in my seat with my clique. And I was already upset and triggered that day, so of course I was upset, but I didn't really reflect it on her as much as I did on everybody else. But I didn't reflect it on her, and I just asked her the first time to get off my seat. And I literally said, hey, I was sitting there. Can you get off my seat? Can you move? And she just gave me a little sassy attitude. Okay? A little sassy attitude. And she was like, no, it doesn't have your name on it. And I was like, but I was sitting there. You know I was sitting there. So why would you sit there if I was sitting there? I only went to go turn something in, and you wanted to sit where I was sitting. And she was being an asshole. She just kept saying, no, I was sitting here, you weren't sitting here, you can go find another seat. And mind you, in our class, there was only amount of desk and seats based off of how many kids were there. So she wasn't supposed to be in our class. She was just in there just to be in there. And our teachers in Horton weren't really teachers. They were just completely retarded people. Like, they just came to just come, and they didn't care what we did or how we did or how we did it. They don't care much about us as students. The teachers really didn't do much. Our school was like considered a bad school, and it still is a bad school, but there are some changes now than there were when I was going there. But then I just got upset after the fact that she wouldn't get off my seat. And I told her, I was like, yo, get off my seat. And I was already upset that whole day. I don't know what I was upset about. I don't remember what I was upset. I just know that I was upset. And then two things led to another. She just kept going and kept aggravating me and annoying me. And after that, I don't know what happened like specifically, but I know that she ended up putting her hand on me, like to push me. More like, it wasn't a push, it was more like a shove, but with her hands. So she kind of shoved me, and I got mad, and I slapped her in the face. I don't act out like that, but I did slap her in the face, and she got up in more like of a shock type way. Like, she wasn't sure if she should hit me back or stare at me. Like, it was kind of that type of weird moment. But she ended up hit me. She ended up hitting me. Correct myself. She ended up hitting me. And all I remember is that because our desks were really put together, like they were really close together, she did push me to the desk. And it did cause me to fall on the floor. But I was on top of her. I don't know how I got on top of her. I don't know why I got on top of her. This is my first fight, so I don't know where to throw hands or how to throw hands. I just know that I was on top of her. I had her hand wrapped around my hand. Her hair wrapped around my hand. And I was just hitting wherever I could possibly hit. So I was just throwing punches wherever I could possibly throw punches. So she did obviously try to fight back. She wasn't a wussy, but the thing was, she wasn't really hitting me much. She was more so of pinching me, like pinching my sides, where my ribs were. She was just pinching my sides more than she was doing anything else. She was just sitting there like pinching me. And that's all I felt. I didn't feel much of her putting her hands on me or scratching me or nothing. But then so the teacher was screaming. I don't know how the teacher thought it was okay to scream. I don't know how you just scream while kids are fighting, like just stop the fight. But she was screaming. And the thing is, my cousin used to go to the same school as me. And that day, he was supposed to be in a different class. But all I remember is that my cousin ended up running from a different class to my class to grab me. Yes, my cousin ran from a different class to my class to grab me. And he grabbed me. When he grabbed me, that's when security guards started coming. The guards didn't come until after my cousin grabbed me and yanked me off her. But I know that when I got up, I ended up stomping on her face, like stepping on her, and she tried to spit at me. Yes, she tried to spit on me, but I was already up and she was just getting up, so I ended up spitting on her first, which is very disgusting. Do not spit on anyone. But I ended up spitting on her first, and then my cousin told me to stop. And when I looked down, I had hair all over me. I had blood on me. I thought I was bleeding. It wasn't my blood. It was her blood. And I think on the way of us fighting, I kind of hit her to the point where she ended up hitting the desk. I don't know. I'm assuming that's what happened, but I don't know. I did end up with a little scratch on my face, but that was because I ended up hitting myself. And I ended up with a bruise on my eye because I ended up hitting myself in a scratch because I rolled when I was rolling to grab her a certain way. That was also at the same time as my cousin was trying to grab me. And when my cousin was trying to grab me, in the process of that, he ended up scratching my face. So that was the whole fight thing. And then we go to guidance, and our guidance counselor, oh my god, was just we're gonna put you two girls in a room and y'all gonna sit there for the whole day. That's literally what happened. We went down there, they told her it was a fight or whatever, and she was like, okay, since you guys don't know how to get along, you guys will be sitting in this room from this time to this time, and you're gonna stay in this room until you guys get along. Sitting in that room was kind of weird because we just got in a fight over a chair, and now we're in a room together where we just have to act like we like each other until it's time to go. But that didn't end up happening. She did come back. The guidance counselor did come back into the room, and she sat with us, and she told us to talk about how we felt. I'm not going to get really in detail about how we felt about each other, but just know that there was a lot of crying, a lot of heart-to-heart moments, and all that didn't matter because after we left that room, a week later, she ended up just doing the same thing she did to me before the fight, which was the on and off, hate me, love me type thing, relationship. And I just really just was fed up. And kids in Horton gas things up. Kids in Horton gas things up so much. They just gas it up. And when I mean gas it up, I don't mean like they're like adding a little spice to it. No, they changed the whole story. And they just gas things up. And I remember that after the fight, a week later, the whole situation that happened, that I recall happening, didn't happen. They said that we were fighting over boys. We were fighting over this guy, some guy, I don't know. She went around saying that she beat me up, and I just don't really find much to say about the fight. All I remember is I was having a bad day, and one thing led to another where I ended up getting upset and I took it out physically instead of emotionally. So my first fight wasn't a really good cup of tea, but that's basically what happened, and that's how everything happened. And it all happened literally so fast. Like, I don't really remember bits of pieces of the whole thing. I just remember what I woke up to, basically. And I was so much in a rush. My body was shaking after fighting. And it's just a lot of things. All of that just happened so quick and so fast. And it was more of like an adrenaline. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm pretty sure you guys know the word. And it was more of like something like that. I hope you guys like this video. There's not much to it other than I got into a fight with a chair or over a chair, and it was a very bad fight for me as a first fight. And it just led up to us being in a room where we had to talk about our feelings and everything else. So, I hope you guys liked my content for a first video. And if you do, comment and subscribe. And